Segment number 2 of the Broad Podcaster with me, Jennifer Fierro, here in the Highland Lakes with Art Dlugach, the voice of the Llano Yellow Jackets. Art and I just covered Llano and their big win against Vanderbilt Industrial. We also previewed their Thursday night matchup against Edna. And in this segment, unfortunately, Art, I have to report that Burnett County is officially out of the playoffs.
Well, before you get to that, and I am applying to Wisconsin to become the voice of the Badgers next year. I'm just kidding, but to tell you why I'm wearing this hoodie is my grandson is a sophomore at Wisconsin. Go right ahead. And Wisconsin lost to its big rival, Minnesota, 23-16. I was upset about that. But seriously, they have hired the coach from Cincinnati. And you know how good the Bearcats have been. They didn't get them.
Wisconsin?
Got Cincinnati's coach.
I thought Wisconsin hired Matt Rule.
No, Rule went to Nebraska.
You're right.
That I know for sure.
I'm getting my Big Ten teams mixed up.
Oh, that's okay. I'm pretty sure that they will get the Cincinnati head coach, so that will be a big help. And they will get to go to a bowl game. Let's talk about Smoking for Jesus.
Okay. And I promise we will get to college football because this is a big week for the matchups there as well. Smoking for Jesus lost to Bulverde Gloria Deo 34-32 on Friday night. It went all 4 quarters. To me, and I wrote up this story on TexasChalkTalk.com, there's just too many miscues by the Eagles to overcome. Let me describe the setting for you. It was a night that was pretty cool. There was a constant mist that was falling. They were playing at Wallace Rydell Park in Burnett. It has natural grass. So that means there's a lot of mud. Lots and lots of mud. The ball is slippery. You can't really pass the ball. So I saw players lose their footing. I saw, and we both know that 6-man football, they usually onside kick, and very rarely do they kick the ball off because the chances of recovering an onside kick are so much higher in 6-man. So down the stretch when the Eagles really needed to not have their miscues is when I saw a lot of them. Dropped passes, balls that went through hands, balls that were thrown in the dirt, players slipping as they are trying to make a cut or plant. And then on onside kicks, the Eagles are trying to catch the football. They lose their footing. The ball touches them. It's a live ball. So you have all of those things that you have to deal with. Then in the very end, with 4 minutes and 4 seconds left, the Gloria Deo gets the ball, and the Eagles are desperate to get a stop to get the ball back. Gloria Deo ends up running out the clock. Their outstanding runner is a guy named Davis Chandler. I had him for 25 rushes for 247 yards and 4 touchdowns. Okay? He also had completed 4 passes for 67 yards. His most important decision of the night, Art, was on the second to last play when he ran for 24 yards, got to the Eagle 1-yard line, and took a knee. And that allowed Gloria Deo to get into victory formation and never give Isaac Leger, an opportunity to get the ball back and lead the Eagles down the field for the win. I have to give Gloria Deo credit because they did something that I think is incredibly important. You see, the first time the two teams met, Gloria Deo had the same opportunity to run out the clock, but they ended up throwing the football, and that's when Isaac picked the ball off and ran it back for a touchdown for the 36-34 win in the first game. This time, Gloria Deo never attempted a pass.
Were the scores the same?
34-32 in the rematch, 36-34 in the first game.
Okay, so if he scores, they've got the 8-point lead, and if they get the 2, then they've clinched it also. But if they don't get the 2, then you're right, absolutely right. Smoking for Jesus can come back, score, and get the 2 for a tie.
Sure. And for the record, what happened was on their last offensive possession, Smoking for Jesus scored a touchdown, and they were going for the 2-point kick. But, and I wrote it down, there was a high snap, and the ball went too high. They were unable to set the ball down to give the kicker the opportunity to even attempt the 2-point kick. They just simply covered it up, and that was that. And that's how close it was. That was another miscue. And that was probably the second miscue on a bobbled snap in the special teams for Smoking for Jesus during the contest. It was just one of those nights where the Eagles, it just looked like they couldn't get out of their own way in a lot of ways. Now, that is not to say that Isaac Leger was not his outstanding self, because he was. I had him for 293 all-purpose yards. Oh, I left that piece of paper over there. He ran for 222 yards. I forget how many rushes.
Outstanding.
And just take 222 out of 293, and that's what he completed, 71 yards in passes. And I couldn't tell you how many catches he made, because Smoking for Jesus was in their black uniforms, and they just simply have an outline of numbers, not numbers that are colored all the way through. So it's very difficult to see who did what and all of that. At any rate, their season is over, lost in state semis, but they've won 3 consecutive state championships as members of the Texas Christian Athletic League. They switched leagues and went to the Texas Association of Independent Athletic Organizations. I asked Coach Frazier, do you still feel good about that? He said yes. He said he has no regrets about making that decision to recommend a league change. Now the Eagles will get ready to play basketball. They won a state title, I believe, last year in boys basketball with Boo Maxwell, the outstanding defensive coordinator in football. He now is the head basketball coach. And I told Coach Maxwell when he was ready to talk some Eagle basketball to give me a holler. But that is all I have. I'm waiting to hear from Coach about, because I know that the Eagles, they had about 4 or 5 members were chosen for the All-State team. That's already been announced. And the All-Star team, that story and all of that information is on TexasChalkTalk.com. Isaac Leger obviously is one of those. Jonathan Frazier is another one who was picked for All-State, and both of them will be playing in the All-Star game. I believe you have to be first-team All-State to get to play in that. That's my understanding anyway from Coach Frazier. So, congratulations to the Eagles. I know it didn't win the way anybody over there wanted it to, but it is hard to be upset with a team that got it together after playing a very difficult pre-district game, went back, won an undefeated district championship, their 4th in a row, and came just 1 game short of playing for another state championship.
Yes, outstanding.
So, yeah.
My congratulations also to the coach and the team.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, let's talk some college football. I'm throwing you the ball again.
All right. TCU ended its regular season with ease, a 62-14 win over hapless Iowa State, which finished 4-8. Incredibly disappointing for any team, especially for Matt Campbell's team, as he's been the fair-haired boy the last few years, and I'm sure he's thinking why he didn't take another job before he got saddled with this bunch this season. But that's a whole other story and not the lead story right now.
He was waiting for Michigan. Go ahead.
Well, Michigan is not available. We'll get to them. Texas beats Baylor 38-27 for an 8-4 record. The Bears 6-6. They will go to some bowl. We don't know which. And my understanding is the guess on Texas is the Alamo Bowl.
Alamo or Cheez-It, depending on the outcome of the Big 12 championship.
Bijan Robinson ran for 29 carries, 179 yards, 150 in the second half, and almost 1,600 yards for the year. I call him the best running back, one of the best running backs ever not to win the Heisman, because he's probably not going to win the Heisman. They're saying now USC's Caleb Williams, late of Oklahoma, like Lincoln Riley is the favorite to win the Heisman. C.J. Stroud may have had hopes, but not after the loss to Michigan. And also Hendon Hooker, someone I just thought a lot of Tennessee. He's out for the year with ACL, and so he's not going to win it. In other games in the Big 12, Kansas State defeated Kansas 47-27. The Wildcats had to lose for Texas to get into the championship game against TCU. So it will be K-State and the Horned Frogs on Saturday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. In their first meeting, Kansas State had a 28-18 lead, and TCU comes back and wins 38-28. As you know, they made a habit of some great rallies this season. All right, West Virginia beat Oklahoma State. Whatever happened to those Cowboys? They finished 7-5. The Mountaineers season is over 5-7. Texas Tech, whatever happened to their season? Good things. A 51-48 overtime win over Oklahoma. Sooners are done at 6-6 before a bowl game. And Tech, 7-5, beats Oklahoma and Texas in overtime. So just a fine season for Coach of the Year candidate, but probably won't get it because of Sonny Dykes of TCU. But Tech 7-5 will certainly go bowling. One more score, not in the Big 12, but interesting. Texas A&M, being laughed at so much of this season, beats LSU 38-23, and LSU is now out of any possibility of being in the Final Four. It could become the first team to win the SEC championship with a big upset over Georgia, and first team from the SEC winning the conference championship and not going to the Final Four, because they're not going for sure. Devin, a chain of A&M ran for 215 yards in that victory. All right, the big games coming up this weekend. The conference championships. Michigan will be a heavy favorite to beat Purdue in the Big Ten title game. USC plays Utah, and that should be a good one for sure. As I mentioned, Georgia and LSU Bulldogs, of course, a big favorite, defending national champions, and TCU and Kansas State. So just a lot of great TV to watch this weekend, and then we'll know the Final Four, I guess, a week from. Maybe they do it differently for the last game.
Should find out Sunday.
Okay, so on Sunday we'll know the Final Four.
Okay. For Dlugach, I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster here in the Highland Lakes. Make sure you go to TexasChalkTalk.com for all of your Highland Lakes sports news. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share the channel.